Hi everyone, this is Corey at Aquarium Co-op. Today's another day in the fish room. We're building. Who would have thought? So I'm going to show you some things we've done, in my little time after work over the last few days, and then what I'm going to try and get done today as well. And I'll just keep, keeping this video log going of how I'm doing it. So, temperature's been getting colder during the day. I've installed some door sweeps. So I've got a nice door sweep down there to block the draft that was coming through that I had. We also installed a couple more over here on this door. So I've got the door sweeps down there as well. That's going to help some of the draft. And then one of the big projects, I was lucky enough to have family in town while I was getting married, and one of them is a very good quilter. And I was trying to figure out a way to insulate a window I have right here. And there is something called a window quilt, and you can buy them, and they're very expensive. And luckily for me, my Aunt Mary quilts and was able to whip this out for me in a day or two, taking breaks and obviously stuff like that. And we've just velcroed it to the window to give myself a really good seal. And already the temperature has, stabilized much more in here. And, I was using a heat gun, and right here at the panel we were at about 72 degrees. And then at the windowsill we were at 58 degrees. And now with this, if I hit it right here at the same place, we're at 70 degrees. So 72, 70 was 58. So that's making a big difference. So, how else can I winterize my fish room? And this is, winter's not here yet. It's like 58 degrees outside right now. It's not that bad. But I'd much rather be working on projects. I'd be rather working on them when it is warm outside, because I'm going to have to go outside for a bit. And I'd rather do it sooner rather than later. If I wait, it's going to cost me even more money. So, some of the goals. I'm going to try and get, I think, a mover's blanket, which is basically poor man's quilt for me, tacked up on this door, because when I use a heat gun and I test temperature on this door right here versus this wall versus this window, huge differences. And even if I pin it to the inside of this door and blanket it down, I think it's going to help. Also, let me open this door here. If we come into this room, I have big gaps right here. You can see I can fit my finger behind this door, and this is my cold room in here where I have koi and things like that. And this room hasn't been built out yet, but it will, and it'll hold a lot more. But this is the cold room. We're not heating this room, and so between the gaps I have kind of on this barn door style to this, where you can see light coming through and everything, and there's windows. It's much colder in this room, and I've got huge gaps. So I'm either going to put weather stripping here, or maybe I will do both. Put weather stripping, which is already a little bit here, which the previous owner of this home had done that just so the door wouldn't slam, so it fits well. But I could finish this whole thing and actually put a nice layer in there, so I'm not getting not a window breeze, but a breeze coming in through here with cold air entering, hot air coming in here. We've got a thin, this is acrylic, is what this window was made out of when it was installed. And so yeah, I want to insulate this door. That's one way I can, one point of entry of failure for my temperature in my fish room. So I want to address that somehow, and I'm going to show you the ways I'm going to do that. And then I've got a couple more places of cold that I find that can be a problem. This door here, same problem I have with the other door. It's got a thin single pane acrylic window. It's two of them actually, and it's not exactly sealed the best in between the doors. I can see light through it, and that means that air is going through there. And when I research online, they say a 1/8 inch gap like this all the way around a door is equal to like a, you know, a 2.5 inch hole that was straight through the door. And that might not seem like a lot, but it is really cold in that garage, way colder than the other room. I think when I was measuring this morning, it was 48 degrees or something like that, and in here right now, or at that same time, we were at 72 degrees, so about 30-degree difference. I'm thinking about tacking up movers blankets because I don't use this door that often. I've got a garage door right through there that I can enter in, and I have a garage door opener in here, and so I'm thinking about tacking up a blanket all the way, a moving blanket, which is basically a quilt, all the way around this, which it just so happens that this doorway is like the exact size of the mover's blanket I could buy at Harbor Freight. And so I'm thinking about doing that on this side, but then also, let me show you guys here from the back as well. I'll close this door actually and let all my heat out. From this side as well, you can see it's a lot quieter because there's no water running in here, but it is colder. And from this side, I can just tack it up, and it looks like, previous owner might even have some already tacked up there, who knows. But from this side, this kind of the unfinished garage side where we're storing lots of stuff, I can get an air barrier from here to here, which is good. That'll provide some insulation. So put a mover's blanket on this side, mirror it on the other side. I think that's going to help. We've already closed the gap on the bottom, which is nice. The door jambs themselves are pretty tight. And being that I'm going to put a blanket on each side, I don't know that I'm going to need to do much here. I could, but I think the return versus the investment in a little bit of supplies and time is going to be very minimal, considering I'm going to go from this whole door jamb to the other whole door jamb and seal this whole thing off. So putting a little bit extra right there, I don't think it'll do much diminishing returns for sure. Long term, I think when I'm done building out the fish room, I'm going to want to insulate. So you can see in my garage here, we're uninsulated from kind of the fish room, which is in here, from this wall towards me, which is, I'm uninsulated. So uninsulated here, huge garage door, it's a 2-car garage door, completely uninsulated. Luckily, the other wall is insulated. The back, however, is not insulated, but it is open up to the studs, and I could put some insulation batting there and finish that out and get this room warmer, which will help from leaching heat from this room to this room. But yes, so double quilt here to help. Let's go back in here. So that leaves a couple more points of weakness in this main fish room. I'm lucky that I do at least have a door sweep that was already installed down low here. But I can see some light coming through, so that I actually might install another one on the outside. So let's take a look outside. Go out into my yard here. You can see I've got some movers blankets already sat out. But from the outside, let's try and, there's a lot of, you can see there's quite a big gap under the door, and all there is that seal. So I think I'm going to end up installing a seal on the outside as well, so that way I've got two points to block a draft. And then the gaps out here, while not huge, there are gaps all the way around. And I did buy a kit to insulate this door from the outside, which will be nice. And I think that's going to help a little bit. And then, yeah, so I've got the shade pulled down on the window where we put the insulating quilt that we made. And yeah, so that's my main goal for insulating the fish room. So beyond that, I still need to finish off insulating where I did my pipe work, and that would be back here, which I've got a can of great stuff already that I already owned, and I can just fill in that with foam, which there you can see there's, you know, pink insulation and stuff there, but you know, we really want to tighten it up and make sure, you know, we're heating a space to 80 degrees, roughly that. You really don't want to be bleeding out hot air somewhere if you can help it. And you know, knowing that I own this home and will be here for a long time, it makes sense. Invest the money early and you'll get the returns long term. So beyond that, if I'm, you know, if I'm lucky and I get to work today instead of shooting videos, I brought my hole saw kit home from the shop so I can drill into here and maybe even finish up the plumbing video, so we can get those going. I've got most of the supplies to build another wall here, and I've got sponge filters that I brought from the shop. So lots of sponge filters that I can put in the tanks, and I've also got lights. I went ahead and pre-bought, let me see if I can find it here. Oh yeah, that power strip over there with a kilowatt meter that I've been playing with. But that power strip is going to be the one that I'm going to mount somewhere above these tanks. So if I can get that done as well, then I can turn on the Phoenix lighting to this row, and yeah. So make sure you stop in and check it out. I'm gonna check in through the day, or at least you know, show progress. I'm starting way later today. I had to go to the courthouse and submit marriage paperwork and take people to the airport and all those kinds of fun things you do on your day off. And then, you know, now I want to say it's like 3:30 or 4. In fact, I can check. It's 4:09. You know, as soon as I get to start on my fish room. So, you know, if I put in a solid 4 hours, I might get a lot of work done. So here we go. I've got the moving blanket or window quilt set up. This is a moving blanket that I bought at Harbor Freight for I think $8. Might have been $7. It's not quite perfect for this. It's a little bit long, so I had to double over here a little bit, which that's, as far as I see it, only a good thing. We just attached it with some drywall screws. Now if I wanted to make this 100% as best I could, I would use industrial strength Velcro, but already it's sealed up pretty tight. I mean, you can see, you know, through the room, but it's already sealing up pretty tight. So I could put a few more screws if I need to, but I figure putting the layer on this side and the layer on the other side will work. They were a little bit short, so they're only 80 inches, and really I needed like 82 inches, so there's a bit of a gap at the bottom. I'm going to put like a draft blocker or something like that on probably each side, which I could, you know, honestly I could lay a 2x4 down there and call it done. But yeah, so we're going to install one on the other side now. So I don't quite have this blanket up yet. Just thought I would show a cool old man phone. No, I thought I would show we've got it attached to the top. We're going to come in and we're just going to throw some screws in every once in a while here and go to the jam. This door on this side's a little taller because I decided to do it to the trim, and so down here you can see we've got about a 3-inch gap, which I'll build something for down the road. But yeah, we're just going to throw some screws in every 6 or 8 inches or so and get this part done. Got my second mover's blanket put up. It's installed. While I'm here, I'm going to plug up this access panel, which was already done by the homeowner, but when I bought the house I didn't know what was behind it, and so you dig back there and you eventually find some wiring, and so yeah, now I'm gonna put this back in because it's one more place that we could seal up a little better. And so, you know, it's one of those things you want to do methodically. You don't want to just wait and go, well, I'll do it someday, because, well, I undid this panel while I was checking out the fish room, and now it's been 5 months and I haven't put it back up yet, so today's that day. Alright, so I've got my panel installed, and while I was down here I noticed maybe I have a bigger problem with this front door than I was thinking. So if we go and we look just right here, let's see if I can, you see all that light coming through? That's exactly where air is going to be pouring through on any stormy day, cold air, and especially once that winter hits. So that's the next project here, is to at least insulate or put the draft dodgers or whatever you want to call it in the front, and I want to go ahead and do that next. Alright, so we've got our door sealing kit, the top sides door seal. We're going to mount it to the I guess door jamb right here, and it's going to snug up to the door, and the goal will be that it'll basically fit like this to block this gap. I'm going to look at it from the inside to see if we can still see the sun, and that'll probably give us a good indication whether it's working or not, so we'll start there. Alright, so I've got my weather stripping or door seal installed. Went pretty easy, took 15 minutes. Got a nice tight seal, it seems like, even up in the corners here, and I think I got a great seal, except for where my door is weird, and you don't notice things like this until you're working on it, but there's like a panel or an extra piece of wood. I don't know if there was a problem with that and the previous owner fixed it or whatnot, but the problem is it's like a ½ inch or 1/4 inch piece of plywood or something, and you can see it makes a little gap. So I'm going to put a little bit extra foam in here, probably on the door itself. Fix that up, and I'd say we probably stopped a lot of the draft. The door fits a lot tighter now, and it actually takes some effort to close, which is good. That means it's going to form a seal for me, and that's mission accomplished for that. It's now about 6:30. We're back in the fish room after doing a lot of insulation work, and we're working on drains. So I've got one installed here up top, got another one coming down, got 6 more to do before we can start working on putting water in as opposed to making sure water can drain. I like to focus on the drain because no matter what I do, water being able to drain is a good thing. So get the groundwork laid. Back to it. Alright, it's 7:45 and I've got a few things done. Let me show you. So obviously plumbing completed. Moved the tanks. I moved them down so that it freed up this space so I can put the 40 breeder going this way. I also ran all the air lines off of the main line. I put sponge filters in, put lighting in, so all the lights are in, and I mounted the power strip up on the ceiling. I just need to buy an extension cord to bring that all the way to the wall and straight down to that outlet where I can put a timer. Now I'm going to work on some PVC for the drain, not the drain, the fill. And so the fill system got right here on this wall, and we're going to do the same setup on this side, and I'm going to shoot a video on how to do that as well. And yeah, so make sure you check that video out. So I've got all my lines plumbed in. You can see it's hot in the fish room. It's like 80 degrees. I'm sweating up a storm in here. I've been crawling around and doing lines, but the fill water is in, or at least the system is in, on both sides here, and we connect to that system. Now it's the moment of truth. We see where the leaks are. Hopefully there's none. I mean, that's the hope. So let's go ahead and try. We'll turn on the system. I guess I'm gonna have to take the timer out here to pull this off. Alright, so the system is on. Let's run over here and pray everything works. So we've got water filling in the normal side, that's good. Let's check the new side here. We've got some water coming. Alright. Lines are pressurizing. Water's coming in. Water's coming in. Water's coming in. Alright, these are all good things we want to see. Now we want to check connections. That connection looks good. This connection looks good. So does that one. And that one so far is looking good. Okay. Let's check more connections here. Looks like my PVC on this end is holding up just fine. And over here, looks like all the splice work I did is working fine. That's, oh wait, there could be a leak here. We will see if that was water from me cutting the line and going in, or if that is water from this leaking. We will figure that out. I'm hoping it's just residual water. We'll check on that in a bit. Just check up here. So far, it looks okay. I'm a little worried there's a water droplet right there. We'll clear that off and see how that goes. Should have been from the hose spitting. This tap right here is working just fine. Looks like that tap's working just fine. That tap's working fine. And then we check our last things here. We've got a cap. It's dry. Got another cap, it's dry. So I'm going to call this success. There's pretty much nothing better than aquariums automatically filling themselves. When you're doing 8 at a time, it's even better. You know, that's always my goal, is that automatically these will fill, and that's how I know they're ready. If I can't automatically do it, these tanks shouldn't be set up yet. So yeah. That's what I'm going to get done today. It's almost 9 o'clock. I'm being told I need to come in and eat dinner and not spend the whole night out here. So until my next day off,